Today I've got this pin. Now I started this a while back on my metal lathe and I never finished it, but this is the body. All of this was made on the Atlas, but I'm ready now. I've got these mandrels and I've got one of them chucked up. This is the pin body mandrel. And I'm going to go ahead and basically fine tune this pin. I'm going to shape it, sand it and polish it on the jet. Let me put it together and show you what it's going to look like. This is a shot of the section in the body, and it's already been fitted for a Parker refill. Let me attach the cap. This is all the farther that the cap will go onto the pin. When I made this cap, I did not drill it deep enough. So what we're going to do is attempt to get this back into the chuck, and we're going to attempt to drill, what is that, maybe 3/8 of an inch or so deeper into the back of this blank, so that we can fully attach the body. I'm glad I tested this before I started shaping and finishing. It'll be much easier to do. And the bottom line is, if you look at this, it's tapering. So let's just lay it out like this. Let's say we were about there. So essentially, we're talking about maybe this much of the bottom of the pin. So we don't even have to really be 100% on center, which I think we can get this running pretty true. But we'll go ahead, put it on a standard chuck on this lathe. We'll chuck up with the Jacobs chuck a bit that is larger than this, maybe an O bit or, I don't know, a 1/2 inch bit, something. And we'll go ahead and drill maybe 3/8 of an inch into this blank and get it to where the cap fits the body before we start shaping. I spent a little time aligning this blank in the chuck. If you'll watch the back edge of the lathe here, I think you'll see just how much wobble there is in this blank. That looks pretty darn amazing. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead now and we're going to determine what size bit we need to be able to accept this nib in the back of the cap. And we'll go with a little bit larger bit than we need. It needs to be smaller than the hole in there. We don't want to damage our threads. And I think that was a 12.5 millimeter hole that went into the blank. So we don't need anything quite that large. And basically stepping down will be nice because it will allow me to do a little more tapering on the far end of the blank. So I'm going to work on determining the bit, and we're going to get set up and we're going to drill our hole. I chose a Z bit for this operation. And the reason why I chose a Z bit is because it is just a fraction larger than 25/64. And 25/64 is a bit that I use all the time. So no sense putting any excess wear and tear on it. I never use a Z bit, so it's super sharp and it's ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and use that. It looks like the magic distance is 5.59 millimeters. We'll drill just a fraction deeper than that. We'll maybe set this for 5.65 or so, and that should give us a nice depth in the cap. I set my calipers to 5.65. They did kind of bounce a little bit. I was probably about 5.65 and a half because they bumped up to 5.66, but not a big deal. I inserted the bit all the way into the cap until it touches the back. I don't know how well you can see it right there, but there's a tiny little pencil mark. Let's see if I can back this off a little bit. See that pencil mark? Right there. I'm going to back up 5.65 millimeters and put a mark, and that will tell me how deep I need to drill into this blank. And you can see now my red mark. So basically from the pencil line to the start of the red mark is 5.66 millimeters. And just like that, we have a nice tight fit between the cap and the body. My plan is to go ahead and remove this little nubbin off the end of the blank. I'll bring up a 60-degree live center for some nice support. And then we'll kind of start shaping this a little bit, really right in this area. I want a super nice transition between the cap and the body of the pin. So once I get a nice smooth transition there, I can then remove the body. I'll put it on its mandrel, and we'll finish turning it down on the mandrel, as well as the cap. We'll turn it down on its mandrel, but we'll have our spot that we want to turn to, maybe about this much of the blank will be exactly the diameter that we're looking for. I did a nice job turning that down to where they match up. The cap and the body match up great. But I've got that one little chip out section right there on the body. So I'm going to have to take this down below that section. You can see I've got a relatively thick cap, and I don't want that. That is not super thick, so I think we're going to be okay. We're going to give it a try, and if we mess up, we mess up. But you know, if we don't try, we'll never know. So let me get this reassembled, and we'll go ahead and continue turning these two items down, and we'll keep a nice transition between the cap and the body. I was turning away. Things were going great. I eliminated the little nick that I had up here. I was to the point where I was ready to remove this and put it onto its own mandrel. And I thought, you know what? It's running so well. I've got a nice fit. Everything is smooth. Let's just continue to shape the back end of this body down. And you can see I ended up getting a catch. And what that catch did was break the tenon off. Not only did it break the tenon off, but it broke the section off inside of the cap. So basically, I have rendered this pin completely useless. Well, guys, when you're experimenting in the shop and trying to learn, stuff like that is going to happen. I'm not upset. I am a little disappointed because I thought maybe I could finish it up. I was hoping, it was fairly solid. I was hoping I could go ahead and kind of shape the end down. I think what it boils down to is if I grab my tool over here, get this tool. I think my tool is just getting dull, and I probably should have sharpened up. This is just a little small gouge. As a matter of fact, yeah, I can see, you won't be able to see it in the video, but on the right-hand wing here, there is a nick. And I don't know if the nick was caused when I got the catch and maybe I bumped into the 60-degree live center, or if the nick was there beforehand, but I probably should have done two things. Number one, I probably should have run this over the grinder and put a nice little edge on it. And number two, I don't know, I still say that I should have been able to do that. I think two things got me. I think maybe the tool not being sharp enough, number one, and number two, probably my tool technique, because I'm not super great with this tool, and every now and then I'll pull a catch with it. And I was moving quick, right? I wasn't taking my time like I did last night, so I think I cost myself. We're going to go ahead and just put this stuff away for now. We'll break out some more blanks and we'll start over, and we'll go back to, I mean, that was the original nib I was making. We'll go back to more of the new style I want to make, because I'd really like to make a cap, body, and section and get that complete so that I can do a video for you guys later on. Well, a little bit of good news. I was able to use a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and remove the section from the cap. The cap is undamaged and is still usable. Now the section, or the nib on the other hand, you can see these are the threads from the body, and I kind of did damaged really bad the back end of the section. So I think that's really unusable, but at least part of it's still good. And I got a bunch more of these green blanks, so we'll be able to make another one and hopefully use that cap. Hey everybody, how are you doing? My latest kitless pin is finished. Let me see if I can, let me take the cap off of it. I can't twist it off with one hand, and I'll flip around and show you what it looks like. Here's a little closer look at it. Really happy with how it turned out. I think it looks pretty awesome. It's a Parker refill. It's got a nice tight fit, threaded for the cap. I cleaned that end up, smoothed it over. And flip around, here's the cap. Nice finish on the cap. Let me just put it back together. It's hard to do with one hand. The threads are still a little bit tight. I need to put a little wax on them and work them off and on a little bit, and that'll loosen them right up, and she's ready for daily use. I'm real happy with it. What do you guys think? P.S. Video coming soon on the making of this pin. It's a lot of footage, so it's going to take a while to edit. I'm toying with the idea of maybe doing two videos, maybe a short version for those who don't want all the details, and then the normal version that has the ad nauseum detail that I like to give in videos. We'll see how that goes. It's going to take a little while for me to edit the video, though, because there is a lot of footage. But I'll cut out all the stuff that's unnecessary and hopefully give you guys something interesting to watch. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Have a great day and great evening, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.